Hey guys, today I wanted to come talk to you about number one, how can you get your potential clients comfortable with a group coaching program? So this is a really important thing. I struggled with this for at least a full year because I had done a bunch of coaching programs. They told me, hey, do a group coaching program, like structure as a group so you can scale. And I had it as a group, but I didn't really know how to sell it because I had it in my mind where it's like, well, if I say it's a group coaching, then people are gonna think that it's it's this giant thing. They're not going to want to work with me, and they want me to only do one-on-one coaching. And for a long time, that was actually the case until I really figured out what we're going to talk about in the video today. So also, if you want some help growing a coaching consulting business, maybe you've been trying to do this stuff on your own, but it's just not quite working the way you want it, or maybe you've invested in a course or two or a coaching program and that didn't work for you. If you want the fastest path to be able to succeed, and if you want to see if maybe I can help you, go ahead and click on the link inside the description, book a call, and let's see if it's a good fit. So the main thing to understand is that people will move the way that you tell them. My thing was thinking that, okay, the person's not going to want to do it. And I was always coming from a place of the person was here, I was here on a sales call. So if the person doesn't want to do it, they're not going to do it. But as I've gotten better and better, and I just understand how to structure this stuff. It's always you come from a place of here, and the other person comes from a place of here. And it's not an ego thing. It's not I'm better than this person's worse than me. It's more of the respect and authority level needs to be a lot higher on your end than on their side. And then you have to really understand how to hold the frame of the conversation. And it's not a frame of again, it's never about ego. It's more about I'm just more experienced in this whole scenario or thing we're talking about. So let's say, for example, you're teaching people how to do how to get a six-pack ab. Okay, on the call, I know how to get a six-pack ab. I have six-pack ab. I have this. Bryce personally doesn't. I'm just saying if I was you, right? And I don't want six-pack abs anymore. I used to want that a lot. I just like having a flat stomach and having my chest stick out further than my stomach, and I like having a really good V shape. That's I'm kind of at that spot in my life. But that's what we're saying for the fitness kind of coaching. Yeah, you're not just gonna have someone come on and be like, oh, well, I think we should do this. Well, you don't have a six-pack, so how would you know what it actually takes? Okay, instead, we need to be thinking about this. It's the same thing with talking about group coaching. It's person oh, well, I want to do one-on-one coaching. I want to speak to you one-on-one. Well, it's number one, you don't want that because in a lot of cases, unless you're pricing it correctly, it's gonna hinder your growth in your business. Now, for me, I tend to do things more of a smaller mentorship program where there's a mixture of group as well as one-on-one. Now, that is a conscious decision, right? Because, if there are elements of one-on-one, in a lot of cases, you're not going to be able to scale quite as far. I've kind of made that conscious decision that I care more about, I care more about profit and I care about re-signs. So a lot of times what happens, if you have a group coaching program, a person's going to go through with you for 90 days or 6 months or whatever, and they're not going to sign up with you again. Versus if you have an element of one-on-one, you can get them to keep re-signing up as you have more and more problems they're actually going to have. So it's yeah, you might not need as many clients to go and hit your revenue goals, and it's a lot more profitable because you don't have to keep spending money on ads over time. Now, there's nothing wrong with spending money on ads. It's just everything gets a lot easier when you start thinking more about profit and start thinking more about lifestyle. So for me, for example, I like being able to maximize how much money I make from the business so I can actually go and enjoy my life. I can go traveling, I get nice cars, I get nice watches, nice clothes, I can go out to eat whenever I want. We get my girlfriend's son, get him any toy that he wants, buy a PS5 in cash and don't even care about it, you know what I mean? So it's just you have a lot more options when you're doing the profit wise, right? So it's it just kind of depends on where you're going, but that's why I say one-on-one coaching versus group coaching. So if you're trying to scale and maybe you've never hit $50K in a month and you're still I want to go and scale my revenue as high as I possibly can, then having a group coaching program does actually make it a little bit easier to do that because there's not as much work on your end once the person is paid outside of you making a really, really good course and just structuring things. But you can't quite tell somebody that, because like no one wants to hear like, you're just in it just to get like rich or whatever, right? Even if that's the case, like, you should probably have some sort of like alternative motive as well, in addition to want to make money. Like, you want to kind of help people, you know what I mean? Like there's nothing wrong with, like, if you're only doing this to make money. Like, I'm not saying there's something wrong with that, but I'm just saying, like, it does make it easier for you to do this thing long term if you also want the people who pay you money to like get some sort of result from it, okay? So that's what I'd be thinking about in terms of that. So let's say that you're trying to go with the group coaching, right? I always like talking about why you do something. So part of objection handling on a consultation call is telling the truth about why you do stuff and what you have experienced in the past. Remember, because it's all about, we have the experience. This is the first time they've ever done this. So, for example, one thing I always like to say is, like, what I noticed was whenever I would do a lot of, like, one-on-one coaching, especially with, like, people who are, like, beginners, they would always, like, kind of, like, not really believe what I was saying. Because you always kind of have, like, that, if you do like your business right, you always have the thing where people think that you're like slightly better than them. It's like, well, it worked for you because of XYZ, but it won't work for me because of this. So whenever you have like a group coaching program, whenever someone does that, usually like 3 or 5 other students say, well, Bryce told me to go and do that as well. And like, I didn't believe it, when I did it, but personally I did it. And when I did it, I had to do this, and this to tweak it, but it actually works. So now the person who was complaining and like kind of thinking that it wouldn't work for them, now they buy into like the program because other people are doing it. Like, a lot of people are, for lack of better words, like they follow the crowd. So if they see this person's getting a result and this person's doing the exact same thing that they thought wouldn't work for them, now they do it. So results in a lot of cases are actually a lot better. Now, that's not all the time, right? Like, if someone's a little bit more intermediate or advanced, then one-on-one coaching is a little bit better. But if someone's a beginner, then group coaching actually is a little bit better for them, right? So it's kind of like, so I noticed that, okay, so the group coaching was a lot better than the one-on-one coaching for beginners. So whenever I have a beginner on the phone, they say, well, I'd rather do one-on-one coaching. It's like, okay, I understand, like, maybe you'd want to do one-on-one coaching, but whenever I have people, like, come to my program who are in your exact situation, this kind of happened. So we put them inside the group so it gets a lot more buy-in, they get better results, and it makes it a lot easier because it's just, there's just more social proof around it. Does that kind of make sense? And they're like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. And they totally have just bought into it, right? Because it's the truth. Right? All sales is, especially in a consultative type of sale, is you're just telling your past experience, but you're saying it in a way that kind of relates to where they are now. And if they want to become the person who they're trying to become, this is what it actually takes. And this is like the logical steps, right? So that's why it works so well when you actually do that correctly. So that's how you really get someone like really, really focused. I'm like, okay, cool, a group is good. Now another thing too, like when you're talking about your group, like you don't want it to be like this like massive group. So one thing that I struggled with for a while was I thought that people wanted to do like these like massive coaching programs, like be like the biggest one, because I thought everyone wanted to work with Grant Cardone. But as you're going to kind of find, there's a lot of people that don't want to work with like the biggest person in the space with 1 million clients. They'd rather work with someone smaller. So, you should never try and like say that your group or your group call or whatever is bigger than what it is. Like, just tell the truth about what it is. If it's small, if there's like 1 person on the call, tell people what it is. If it's, 2 people on the call, 3, like tell people what exactly it is, right? Because you're gonna have a buyer that likes the current size you're on. Like, most people will know kind of how big your program is or how big you kind of are. So it's like, you just like don't try and pretend that you're something you're not. Be really good and really like comfortable with where exactly you are, right? And that's why it's like, we kind of talked about in like one of the other videos on this channel, when you're choosing a coaching program that you're going to be selling, like you want to have a coaching program people actually believe you can give them the result that you're like talking about, and that you already have that result, right? Because then they like buy into things a lot more. So that's kind of how you talk about that. And like, if I had known that and had been comfortable with that, like, dude, that would have saved me so much time, right? Because there's nothing worse than like when you have a group coaching program, the person like gets inside, they start paying you money, and they just start demanding one-on-one calls. It's like, well, we don't do one-on-one calls, and they just like get like really annoyed and really irritated. And it's not that that's bad, because again, you can just objection handle and like get them to kind of buy into doing the group. It's just when you're running a business, like the less kind of like random outbursts or random things that kind of happen, the better and the easier it is for you to like run this thing. Like for me, like one thing I don't like having is I don't like having people complain. I just don't, which is kind of ironic, right? Because I'm doing a coaching program, right? Which you're dealing with people who are like stuck and they're beginners, so they're trying to like learn stuff, and that's who complains a lot, right? So like I've really structured a lot of my courses and different things so that I don't really get complaints. I don't really have any negative like feedback, right? Outside of like maybe if I ask for negative feedback, but it's just like I really structure things in a way where everybody knows what they're getting before they actually pay money. So it's just like it's just right in line with what they do, right? That's another reason why it's important to learn how to sell it like a group program as a group program, because you want to make sure that when they get in, everything that you talked about when you're on your consultation call is exactly the same as what they're going to get on the other side, so they don't either cancel or they don't like get like really disgruntled or they don't like cause a big commotion or big problem, right? So you want to make sure you're as accurate as possible on your consultation call. And like if you're not that good, like just promise less in your consultation call. Don't overpromise, because then you have to over deliver, and that's, you know, that sounds cool, like under promise, over deliver. That sounds cool and stuff, but like in actuality, that's very, very challenging to do, especially if you're doing like an information type business, where it's like you're giving them information about like what to do, right? Because then you have to like be really good at like support and stuff, and like you have to reach out to them. And like if you have like 300 clients or 500 clients at one time, that could be really hard to do. That's another reason why I like decided to like do a lot less clients. It just makes things a lot easier for everyone that's involved. So like the students get better results, I get like, you know, less customer service inquiries, and it's just much more profitable. Yeah, so if that actually resonates with you, like if you're looking for something that's a bit smaller, like we're not like one of these like mega programs where it's like 50,000 people have gone through it. It's more of, I'm looking for a select few group of people that are trying to grow like their coaching or consulting business, and they know that if they just had like a little bit more like expert guidance from someone who's actually in the situation or has been where they're trying to go. If you think that being like having close proximity to that will be able to help you get to the next level, then I invite you to like book a call with myself or a member of my team. See if we can help you inside of our mentorship program, okay? In some cases, like we can't, like maybe it's just not a good fit personality-wise, or maybe it's just, you know, I don't know, some kind of weird thing that maybe you have that maybe I just can't help you, right? My program and my methodology is not for everyone. It's for a very specific type of person who likes to grow their business the way that I do. So if you want to see if that's you, go ahead and click on the link inside the description, book a call with myself or a member of my team, see if we can help you, okay? Again, take it easy. Talk to you soon. Have a good one.